I basically converted to homeschooling in that workshop. And it was the perfect blend of our family values, our faith, education.
Hey everyone, this is Yvette Hampton. Welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. I am here this week with my good friend, Maria Bagnuoli.
You got it
Did
perfectly.
I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Isn't that
very
awesome?
Professional?
I know, like a real Italian, right?
You sounded like an Italian.
I'm not Italian, though.
Okay.
I am half Mexican and half Puerto Rican.
Amazing.
I know, but
nobody will know. But, hard to
They're
tell.
going to think I'm Italian, by the way. I said Bagnuoli.
Right?
Yeah, well, I know. Anyway, we are here this week and I am in the studio. If you are actually watching this interview on YouTube, you see that I am side by side with my friend Anna, and this has been such a fun day. We have gotten our families together. They are traveling through Oklahoma right now. And so we've had a really fun time just fellowshipping as families, as fellow homeschool families, as fellow Christian families, and getting to just talk about all of the amazing things that God is doing in the homeschool community, including in the Hispanic homeschool community. And it's so exciting to see what the Lord's doing. So we're going to talk about that this week, and it will be in English, not in Espanol.
Exactamente.
Because no habla español. Did I say that right?
Correcto. No hablo.
No hablo español.
There you go.
I should speak Spanish. My maiden name, for those who don't know, my maiden name is Espinosa.
Espinosa. Wow.
See, you say it better than I do. It is my maiden name. But I don't speak any Spanish at all. Isn't that crazy?
You'll get to know more.
I don't think so.
I hope I can share more
I'm
with you.
Maybe. I mean, I'm 48. I don't know that I'm going to learn to speak Spanish.
We can
at this
hang
point.
out together a little bit more.
Okay.
Our kids can teach you.
Okay. We should do that. Anyway, we are so excited this week. We're going to talk about what God's doing in the Hispanic homeschool community. And we're going to talk a little bit about road schooling as well, because that's what the Bagnuoli family does. They are out on the road, just meeting families, sharing with people about what God's doing in and through their family, and experiencing this amazing nation.
Exactly. We're learning about your history. We're embracing the new country for us. Our kids were born here, but we are not from here.
Right.
So it has been a delight to really learn from people and from each state, their background and things you didn't see in books.
Right, right. Yeah. And this is as far west as you've gone. I know. So I'm excited to talk about all that. But first, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, CTC Math. If you guys are looking for a great online math program, go to ctcmath.com. Try them out, ctcmath.com. So this has been fun. I have loved meeting you and your family. Your husband is Ricardo. Tell us about who you are as a family, because you guys are a really fun and exciting family. We met at the HSLDA conference last year.
Yes.
So a little over a year ago.
Yes.
And it's been fun to just be in contact with you and get to know you guys better over the last year. So tell our audience who you guys are and what you're doing.
Well, thank you, Yvette. Thank you, Schoolhouse Rocked. We are a Hispanic family. My husband is from Uruguay originally. I came from Colombia. More than 20 years ago, we moved to this country and we met at church. And I'm going to go quickly through the history of this family. But then when we became parents and we had our firstborn, we prayed about how we wanted to educate these kids. They are not ours, they're God's creation. So homeschool was kind of like an answer to that prayer. We didn't know much about homeschooling. At that point, we come from cultures that don't know about homeschooling at all. So we had to learn from scratch. It was a learning experience fully from the beginning until now. It's been 10 years homeschooling. And we have been extremely blessed to know how to educate our children, understand the purpose of education. And now what we do is we share that with our community in Spanish. We share not only our testimony, but the tools and how the entire system works. And it's been exciting for the past 5 years, where we found a transition, which is our ministry work that we do with the families locally and internationally, because we do reach local Hispanics, but also outside of the country. So it's been a privilege to be able to speak to our community about the power of homeschooling, the influence of a parent in their child's life. And as of now, we started a year and a half ago to travel on the road and get to know the country. And a lot of the history comes alive when you travel. It has been a blessing to the children, to us, and it has been a way to share it with many, many families out there. So I am 39 years old and my husband is 48 and 44. And we have 3 beautiful kids that are bilingual. So they're also the kind of a point of reference to our community because they speak Spanish. They are able to share not only with their American friends, but with the Hispanic friends they have. And so for them has also been, I think, a life-changing experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've been homeschooling for 10 years.
Yes.
Which we're going into year 12. So you've been doing this almost as long as we have. When you started homeschooling, did you know anyone who homeschooled? Like what put this idea into your head? Like, I just think I'm gonna teach my kids at home.
No way. No, the story is that I prayed and then I started looking for private schools, public schools. And along my research on the internet, I found homeschooling. So I started reading about homeschooling and I find a workshop that was going to be given like after 2 days or so. So I just called and I signed up for the workshop and I went to the workshop to get information. So the speaker there did a great job explaining the legal side of homeschooling and the purpose of education. So I basically converted to homeschooling in that workshop. It was the perfect blend of our family values, our faith, education. I'm an educator by nature. I love teaching. I'm a bookworm, so I love reading. And I completely just engaged with the community. And we decided to homeschool. It was just a decision. And we knew we were going to have to learn a lot. So for us, it has been 10 years of learning. We continue to learn. But now we're more on the veteran side now for many. And it's a pleasure to share with people like you and other veterans of homeschooling, because I have read your books. I have heard your experience. I have been attending their conferences. And so I've been learning for all these years. And now we're on the other side of the spectrum where we're helping other parents learn as fast as they can, like we did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool. I love it when parents have that pivotal moment where they realize, oh, this is what we should be doing. Like, this makes sense for our family.
Yes.
And, we had that moment when we went to our first homeschool convention and Rick Green was the speaker. He was the keynote speaker that year. And we went into that conference going, I don't know about this homeschool thing. And we came out of that conference and we just were like, this is what we're going to do.
Right.
Like forever. It wasn't
forever.
We're going to try this for a year and see what happens.
Yes.
This is what our family is going to do for as long as the Lord allows us the freedom to be able to do it. And so it's just so cool when the Lord just opens your eyes. And I've often said it was like the scales fell from my eyes in one, almost in an instant, and I just opened my eyes and was able to go, oh, so that it's not about
we
long denim skirts and minivans. What?
It's called like a conversion point moment. Like
Right.
you'd really convert to a different way of educating.
Yeah.
And you see all these families coming to the conferences, and it's really shocking in a good way,
Right.
because you're not used to see mom, dad, and the kids engaged in a conference. Usually, from our background, most of the time, parents, adults are on one side and the kids who knows where. And then in these ones in homeschooling, you see the full pack, the tribe together. Right. It's very inspiring. I think that was one of the things that really also attracted us, the concept of family, sticking together and working together through the process of learning. Right. It's not only my kids are learning and I'm not, the parents are learning too.
Right.
A lot of skills. And it all works so beautifully that your family nucleus becomes strong. And it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. There's always space for grace and forgiving and learning. Yeah. It's part of the process. But the fruit of this, you can't compare it.
Yeah.
You can't buy this.
Yeah, no, agreed. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
What we do at IEW is break through the noise of the grammar and the writing prompts, and we say, this is what you do, step by step. And I've witnessed it over and over again, both watching Andrew teach and hearing from parents, this is the best writing program. We've made it so easy and made it really affordable. So any mom can teach writing to their children using our course, and we guarantee it.
To try 3 weeks of free lessons, visit IEW.com. We are back with Anna. Tell us about transition. So you mentioned that you have this ministry called Transition. How was that birthed? Tell us about that ministry, because it's really incredible what the Lord's doing through it.
Well, we always saw the need in our community to have Spanish resources. So we were a Hispanic family, blessed because we're bilingual, so we could understand a lot of the material we were getting at each conference. But we also always thought of our people, you know, what a blessing this will be if they could know. And that started building in our spirits, in our minds, hearts. So the time came where we made a decision as a household, my husband and I, to do something about it. How can we fill this gap? And we started asking some questions in the veteran community of homeschooling, and we received confirmation that this was something that hasn't been done and so much needed. So as a family, we just found a transition. We went to our accountant one day. The Lord provided the funds to create. We are a nonprofit. And we just opened it one day. We took pictures ourselves. Nobody knew truly about transition in 2017. We just were obedient to the need. But at that time, the need was not as huge as now. And a lot of parents were still very comfortable at school with their kids. But everything changed, 2 years ago. A lot of our friends knew us and they had seen our children and they knew we were doing something so different. So I think we were already ministering in a way, sharing our testimony without even knowing. So in 2019, when everybody went home, everybody that had seen us started calling us and they started to, engage and ask questions. How do you do this? I don't know how to explain it, but the word reached out to other countries and we started doing online workshops for free through Zoom during that period where people were locked into their houses and helping parents engage with their children, deal with some things that were arising. They actually started to share as families. So we saw this process in husbands, wives, and a lot of these parents realized it was like an eye-opening time for them that they could still be parents and educate their kids at home. So they found out, maybe by force, but it was a good opportunity for them to see. So really transition came to help people around 2018. We got invited as speakers in a conference that was done online in Mexico. We went out there, we spoke to the Hispanic community, but Mexico is very strong in homeschooling. So we were another couple. And then 2019 is when everybody was sent home. And then here we started doing our work, talking to leaders, talking to pastors, talking to regular business owners. And we started seeing that the purpose of transition being founded in 2017 was now more clear to us. Yeah. So it's been 5 years and now it has exploded. Obviously, there's a tremendous growth in the Hispanic community. We feel blessed to be able to have been the first ones to do the first Hispanic homeschooling conference, fully in Spanish. Yeah. It was a tremendous blessing. We had and
you're talking about an in-person conference, not an online conference.
That's correct. I think this just happened this year, April. And your documentary was shown there. It was such a blessing to have it with subtitles. And I think we really appreciate that extra effort of putting those subtitles because it helps our community get the message across visually, and seeing it from a veteran perspective helps so much our community to engage faster and understand how influential is education truly. So that conference was breaking ground. I think that's beginning point, a different stage for the entire Hispanic community. So we're there, excited, looking forward to more of what the Lord is going to do.
Yeah. Walk us through that conference. So, if there are Hispanic families listening, which I know that there are, and they're like, what? There's a conference, a Hispanic conference, specifically a conference that is all in Spanish, the whole thing, which is incredible. And you talked about showing the movie, which we were so honored that you guys wanted to show Schoolhouse Rocked at that conference, and you showed it during lunchtime, which I thought was so cool because you had a captive audience. Yes. Like people are sitting down to eat food. Yes. What else are they going to do?
You played the movie attention.
It had the subtitles in it, which praise God for that. I mean, I don't watch movies with subtitles. And so I was concerned about that, but you said, no, the Hispanic community is used to doing that.
Yes.
And it was well received.
It was a blessing.
Again, I mean, that is just God's work,
it was perfect timing because we spoke and you didn't have the subtitles there. Remember, it took right after we spoke, you were working on it right there. And we got the subtitles in just on time for that conference. And it was powerful because all the families were there paying attention at that time. And I think it was a climax time of the conference to have not only the fellowship between families, but actually listening again
Mm-hmm.
from veterans and the history of education, how the system was shaped and formed. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate it too.
Well, we were talking about that, and I want you to talk a little bit more about the conference, but I just was thinking, we were talking at lunch today about how you learned through the movie about the history of homeschooling here in America. And now others are taking this into other countries, and they are the pioneers in their countries. And they're the ones who are paving the road for families to be able to have the freedom and the ability to homeschool in these other countries, which is absolutely incredible.
Yes.
So how has that transition going? Yeah, I want to talk about that, but first, tell me about the conference really quickly. You know, what did you guys do besides show Schoolhouse Rocked?
Right.
It wasn't just a movie night, of course. What did the conference look like?
Well, everything was on paper. You know, you don't know what's going to happen until the day off.
Right.
So we got the beautiful space the Lord provided. We had the speakers lined up, their agendas just fit it all together. It was amazing to see all these busy people just come together and willing to give. So we had 12 speakers. We had people coming from Dominican Republic. We had Mexican people. We had people from Texas. We had leaders from HSLEA join us. And we also had an interpreter assigned to all English speakers only. So every single conference was translated into Spanish if you didn't speak so. And they were all recorded. We still have them available through our membership.
Okay.
We had 250 families there. And that's a tremendous turnout. The space was filled. We had like 15 vendors. We were amazed to see how a lot of curriculum is being translated into Spanish, a lot of resources, truly. All we did was put all these things together under one roof. And we saw not only parents, we saw kids, we saw young people, we saw even grandparents attending. So it was a blessing to see the entire family come to a conference that had never been done before. And even people traveling from other states and other countries to see what's happening. We also had a children's program. We had 50 children in that program. And we were surprised to have that amount of children. It maxed out.
Yeah. Wow.
We had lunch included. It was 2-day conference. Everything again is recorded, but everybody after everything happened and they asked for more. They wanted a second one. And we were truly not planning for a second one. We just saw the response to the conference in a huge way that then we announced the 2023 conference right there. And we're now currently working on that second version.
Yeah. And it's in Florida.
It is in
What part of Florida is it?
Miami. It's right next to the airport.
Okay.
So it's very convenient for the speakers and people that want to travel. They just, they jump up from the airplane straight into the hotel.
Yeah.
It's a very nice space. It's remodeled. So we got a brand new space for this conference. And, we're just so looking forward to the next step. And I know our community is willing to learn. There's an atmosphere of willingness to learn from others and engage and build new things. It's truly like a revolution, an educational revolution.
Yeah, that's incredible. Really quickly, what's happening in other countries?
Well, what we see from Florida is that in general, the homeschooling is a hot topic right now. Everybody wants to know more and learn what truly homeschooling is. There's a lot of myths we're battling too. I think they're natural, they're normal in any culture, but our countries are coming together, realizing they were missing out of a tremendous blessing. And this is how we see it. They were missing out. And we grow up thinking that, the first option is to send our children to school. Yeah. But now homeschooling, it's a number one choice too. It came out from the caves for many, And so what we're doing is showing what homeschooling can do in a family. We are a testimony of it, but we can point at different people that are also great testimonies that have been doing it for so long. So we have countries that are trying to come together to pass on laws to protect their rights to educate at home. We're seeing people mobilizing to make this movement even stronger, not only here in the States, but outside the States. So we are constantly talking to pastors and leaders that are mentors to others. And what we're hearing is, teach me, we want to do this. They're responding to the call. Yeah. There's like an awakening in our community. So I know there's a lot of work to do still, but this is the time to raise up to the plate and help people understand what we have been feeding off and experiencing for so many years.
Yeah. And it's so exciting to be part of that. So
Yes, amen.
when is the next conference in 2023? What
April
are the dates?
15.
Okay.
It will be a one-day conference, but we want to broadcast it live. So
Okay.
for those that couldn't come because they're out of the country and they cannot afford coming maybe,
Yeah.
they will have the chance to listen to the general sessions live. And we want to extend the blessing in that way. So it will be a full day from early morning to late evening. We have leadership luncheons and leadership spaces for leadership to gather. But there's also moments where we're all going to be together, like watching the documentary. And we will have more vendors this time. We have more attention from podcasters and newspapers because they are aware that there's a shift in education.
Yeah.
So we're honored and we're looking forward to see how we can continue to communicate through that conference.
Yeah. So exciting. We'll put dates and stuff in the show notes so that people know
Thank you.
where they can find it. So April 15th, tax day, right?
Yes.
It's a good way to remember it, right?
Somebody said you're going to redeem that day
Yeah.
then. Yes, I think so.
Is that a Saturday?
It is a Saturday.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. So April 15th, 2023 in Miami, Florida. If you are part of the Hispanic homeschool community, or if you know someone who is, encourage them to be part of this conference. Go to Miami in
Please.
April. I imagine the weather is amazing in April.
Yes.
Hurricanes usually do not hit Florida in April.
No.
That doesn't come till like August, September.
And you will get to enjoy the food and there's so much diversity in the culture in Miami. You really learn a lot. So, you can plan some vacations if you are considering homeschooling, spend some days there.
Yeah, that's awesome. We will put all things transitioned into the show notes so you guys can learn more about their ministry. We will be back on Wednesday. We're out of time, but we'll be back on Wednesday to talk more about what God is doing in the homeschool community. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. If you have not left a review for this podcast, would you please do that? Just go to whatever platform you listen to this podcast on and leave a review so that other people can know why they should listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast as well. And thank you for taking time to just spend with us today. We are so grateful that you guys are on the other side of this camera and microphone. And I wish I could sit in person and talk with all of you one-on-one, but I can't. So the way that we know that you're listening is for you to leave a review and let us know. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. Bye.
Education is discipleship, and this is something I didn't understand until I was probably 3 years into homeschooling. The Bible teaches us in Luke 6:40 that when a student is fully trained, he will be like his teacher. And as we look around the culture right now, I think it begs the question, who is teaching our children? Who is teaching our children, and what are they teaching our children? And to me, the primary benefit of having my children home with me is I am able to impart my worldview to my children.